Hey, Shalom. This is Following Yeshua. Welcome again to the Rock. Could your lifestyle sustain a drastic change, such as maybe perhaps you losing your job or um, some sort of financial catastrophe, war, um, perhaps a Great Depression, perhaps a Great Recession, which then comes with the possibility of the economy going upside down. And I ask that because a lot of signs point towards those things taking place. A lot of signs point towards, I don't want to say, without rule of law, but because I don't believe that we'll ever hit that. But a lot of signs point to something that could be equivalent to a depression, a Great Recession, a uh, a big war, or something as simple as you losing your job. And the most alarming thing is that because so many people don't think it's happening while it is happening, very few have themselves ready for that sort of thing. It's kind of like when a hurricane is headed towards Florida, the people there run out and buy generators and they, buy food or they, you know, leave the area that um, the hurricane, is supposed to be hitting. Yet I wonder why people don't do that for their lives. I'm not talking about getting yourself wrapped up in the whole, I'm a super prepper, and I'm not talking about that. I'm not. Although I don't see there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having a year worth of food or, you know, generator or solar. There's nothing wrong with those things. I certainly believe in them. But just the basics, food. I've heard people say when things go bad, I'll plant a garden. Do you know how hard it is to garden? Do you even know what it's like to garden your area? You know, let's say you live in the West. You live in Arizona, California, Nevada. Do you know what foods you can grow in that, if you can call it soil? Do you know what uh, things are drought tolerant? Perhaps you live in the North where you have a shortened growing season. Do you know what things can grow well there? One of the easiest things I think that is to grow is root crops. How many of you have ever grown potatoes? And I ask that question because if things continue in the way that they're going, we could hit that moment. We could hit a time where we reach such uncertainty that people are going to be stuck trying to feed themselves, and most people don't know how. You eliminate the grocery store, and most people will starve to death. That's just being real. Most people have never contemplated the idea of growing food. They'll have a nice yard, well manicured. They'll have, um, uh, you know, wonderful looking trees, and none of that stuff produces food. Well, why would I want to do that for? I mean, if anything, just doing those simple things, growing a garden will help you save money. Yeah, you believe, hey, I want to, I want to invest in Bitcoin. I'm not a person that does that. I don't. I would rather invest in things that are tangible. You do know that growing a garden can help you save money, and you can take that money and invest more in Bitcoin, don't you? You can put more away in your savings account, don't? Right? Here I'm grown. Let's see behind me. I am putting in 16 of these beds. I've already had 4 in. I just built 2 more. I have to get the rest of the material for the other 10. And this is going to be predominantly sweet potatoes and potatoes. Um, you know what it's like? And if you don't, you should. You should understand what it's like to put a potato in the ground. Just go ahead. Dig up a little area in your yard. Put some potato slips in the ground, grow some potatoes, and understand that feeling what it is like to grow, to harvest your own grown food. You know, some of the groups that I've been talking to and fellowshipping with have gotten in the chickens. And, you know, it's amazing to see the face of people that have grown chickens or that are raising chickens for the first time. And they harvest their first eggs and they're just so excited. You know, you see their face light up because they don't realize how what they've been missing and for how long. And while everybody else is stressing and tripping over, you know, egg prices or availability, they're not worried about it. You know, just like this, you know, we've been harvesting anywhere between, I think, I would say on average, we're averaging about 65 to 75 eggs a day from our chickens, and um, we eat a lot of eggs, and it opens up the opportunity to sell eggs. And I mean, hey, there's another venture. You can sell your eggs when people raise their own meat birds and butcher them and put them in the freezer. They're like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. When people go into their gardens and they pick their own fresh vegetables, they didn't know they could do that. Now we've heavily invested into fruit in our orchards, and you know, right here is a bunch of blackberries. I didn't plant those. We have them everywhere. We eat an abundance of blackberries. But I invested in some other berries, you know, honeyberries, josta berries, heavily in the blueberries. We just bought some yellow raspberries. We have the regular raspberries. We have, I mean, an abundance of berries, goji berries, elderberries. And you're talking about medicine. You're talking about and food, jams, preserves, syrups. These things are possible, and you can save an abundance of money. Not just that, but even if you go to the store and it's not on the shelf, your grocery store literally becomes your property. Just or think about, you know, one of the things that my children love fruit. Everybody in the household love, the sisters love fruit. And the ability to grow enough fruit that they never have to ask for it. And that is up to and including oranges. You know, when you start seeing these things and you start doing it, it changes everything. You start asking yourself, what else can you do? What else have you been lied about? What else has been stripped and taken from you that the knowledge of that thing, the knowledge that you could do that thing, is now returning back to you? The things that Yah told you to do, you know, work the fields. When you buy us the land, make it fit for yourself in the field first, then build your house. When you start thinking of the food and the self sufficiency you will have, because one thing that everybody needs is water and food, fresh water and food. And once you've taken care of that, you do realize that you've taken care of a lot of your needs just in those things. Just something I want to consider. Kind of getting back to the basics, pursuing the old paths where you will find rest. Because let me tell you, while the world is in anxiety and people are trying to figure out what they're going to eat and what they're going to eat, and is the government going to give them their food stamps, do you know how wonderful it is to just go outside and know that you not only have medicine, literal herbs of the field, burdock and curly dock and wormwood and stinging nettle and pine trees uh, and then you can harvest almost whatever vegetable, whatever fruit, carbohydrates from the Jerusalem artichokes or potatoes or sweet potatoes, proteins from your chickens and your goats and your sheep, cows. And while everybody's clutching, you get to sit back and relax and know that the labor of your hands is good. and it provides peace for you and your family, and that Yah's just truly blessing you. Just something I want to put in your mind. You don't want to be caught up in what's going on in this world. You don't want to be in the rush and the hustle and the bustle of what's going on. Part of that separation is the ability to not have to be fearful or to not be anxious, but to be at peace because you know you're good. You know you're putting in that work, and Yah's blessing you. Bless y'all. You see the view. It's kind of beautiful and really quiet. Have a blessed day. Shalom.